I'm going to make a real estate video using the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This video is going to be broken up into 4 short segments. First, I'm going to go over the best settings to use on the Pocket 3 when shooting real estate. Secondly, we're going to head out to a property and I'm going to give you guys kind of a behind the scenes as you guys watch me get all the necessary shots that I need to get for the video. Third, we are going to look at the final edited video. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity here. I'm actually going to put a countdown to when I'm going to post that final video for you guys to take a look at. And lastly, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts after having used the Pocket 3 to shoot real estate. I'm also going to give you guys a few pro tips as it regards to using this device and editing the footage. All right, let's go over settings really quick. First off, I'm going to shoot this entire video in landscape mode, so I want to try to really get an idea of what this camera is capable of. So I am going to shoot in landscape mode and I'm going to shoot in 4K 60 frames per second. Next, because I'm shooting in 4K 60, I'm going to want my shutter speed to be 1/120th. That's going to give me that 180-degree rule. Remember, you always want your shutter speed to be twice your frame rate. For example, if I was shooting at 4K 30 frames per second, I would set my shutter speed to 1/60th of a second. Because I'm shooting at 4K 60 frames per second, I'm going to set my shutter speed to 1/120th of a second, and that's what's going to give you the most optimal motion blur and make your footage look the most cinematic. Next, you want to set your ISO to a range between 50 and 800. The reason why I set my ISO to a range is so that the camera can make minor tweaks to the exposure as I move throughout the house. This is just going to ensure that the footage stays as consistent as possible throughout. Next, I'm going to set the gimbal mode to follow, and I want to set the gimbal speed to slow. This is going to make sure that as you move through the property, you get nice, slow, sweeping cinematic shots of the property. Naturally, on the Osmo Pocket 3, I think that the gimbal moves slightly too fast for my liking. Next, we want to make sure that the white balance is set to auto. We want to make sure that the color mode is set to regular. You can also shoot in log if you're familiar with color grading. However, for beginners especially, I recommend you just go in there with the regular color settings here on the Pocket 3. And last but not least, I recommend turning the sharpness on your Pocket 3 down to -1. I don't really like that overly sharpened look that you get with an iPhone or a cell phone. So that's one thing that I think makes this device look a lot more cinematic than a mobile phone. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's head out to the property. All right, so I'm out here at a new construction listing and I'm gonna go around with the Pocket 3. I'm gonna take a few shots. You guys are gonna come along with me and watch me do that. And then afterwards, I'm gonna whip together the edit and I'm gonna show you guys the final video and then you guys can let me know what you think. Quick one here of the kitchen. Okay, I'm gonna run upstairs, get some quick shots of the owner's suite, then we'll head out to the exterior. All right guys, I'm standing outside of a brand new construction home built by one of the Twin Cities' premier builders, Michael Lee Homes. This is the Garfield 2 floor plan. It features 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. There's an open floor plan with a loft upstairs and tons of designer finishes throughout. Why don't you guys head inside and take a peek for yourselves. And notice that I also have the active track on, so as I move left and right, the gimbal follows me. I do not have a cameraman, but this puts off the illusion that I do, which is fantastic. All right, I think I got everything I need, which is pretty good because I got the sun blasting me in the face right now. But I'm gonna head back to the office. I'm gonna put together the fully edited video, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think of the fully edited video coming out of this DJI Pocket 3. So without further ado, here's the final edited video. All right guys, I'm standing outside of a brand new construction home built by one of the Twin Cities' premier builders, Michael Lee Homes. This is the Garfield 2 floor plan. It features 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. There's an open floor plan with the loft upstairs and tons of designer finishes throughout. Why don't you guys head inside and take a peek for yourselves. All right, so don't forget to let me know what you guys thought of the final edit down in the comment section below. My thoughts are that it's definitely a better image than what you get from a smartphone set up on a gimbal kind of like this. It's definitely a lot more cinematic look. And my first pro tip for you guys is to make sure that you guys practice using this little guy at home before you go out and try to shoot an actual real estate video. You can see here that it's just so lightweight that the gimbal just feels feels like you're holding nothing. So it's definitely a lot different than holding your traditional gimbals like this guy right here. I have set up here with my A7 IV on a Ronin gimbal here, and then this little guy here, my cell phone even has a little bit more weight to it, so it just seems like it's a little bit easier and more natural to make those gimbal movements with something that has a little bit of weight. Again, this thing is just so light that it feels like I'm holding nothing, which could be a positive as well because it's just so much easier to use. And also you don't have to balance it or do any of the things that are associated with the other types of gimbals. Second pro tip is I definitely recommend buying the Creator Combo because that comes with this wireless mic here by DJI, and it connects automatically to this Osmo Pocket, and it gives you the opportunity to get high quality audio, and especially when you're using the active track, you can kind of put off the illusion that you have a cameraman, but also you can have super high quality audio directly into this device. It's only like $150 more to get the Creator Combo, which comes with the case, and it comes with the tripod and the extra battery and the mic. It just, to me, it's well worth it. And when you consider how much a full setup like this costs, I mean, this here as a full setup is probably, I don't know, I'd have to guess between $3,000 and $4,000, whereas this setup here is under $700. And honestly, for real estate, the final product doesn't look that much different. Next pro tip is I'm gonna recommend that you guys buy ND filters. I actually purchased these cheapies on Amazon. I'll go ahead and put a link to these in the description. They are by a company called Start RC. I've never actually even heard of the company before buying these, but these just go magnetically here onto the front of the Osmo Pocket, and you probably couldn't tell, but in my outdoor shots I had to use these because these are kind of like little sunglasses for your lens. They help you to set your exposure. The Pocket 3 has a set aperture of f2.0, and so the only thing that you can adjust is the ISO, and obviously when you're outside you can't get the ISO low enough to adjust to the correct exposure. And then you can also adjust the shutter speed, but as I mentioned earlier, you always want your shutter speed set at that 2 times whatever your frame rate is. So for me, I don't want to crank my shutter speed up because that's going to affect the motion blur, and it's going to give me a similar look to what you can already get on like your cell phone. And so in order to keep the footage looking cinematic, it is very important that you pick up some ND filters because these are going to ensure that you can keep the correct settings on your device. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the Creator Combo as well as these ND filters in the description. And my final pro tip of the day is for you guys to stick to one editing software and try to master that software. So many people get into content creation and they start watching tutorials and they want to download Final Cut and Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve and all these different editing softwares, but what they end up doing is kind of spreading themselves thin, and they never actually master any of the softwares. It's in my opinion that one of the best beginner editing softwares that exist is the CapCut desktop app. If you want to know how I edit my real estate videos using the free CapCut desktop app, watch this video right here.